Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Kerri Jodie. I'm Branch Secretary of Unison Rotherham Metropolitan Borough Branch.
And I'm Jodie Hudson, convener and the branch communications officer. We're holding this webinar to explain why Unison is asking certain members working for Rotherham Council to complete an equal pay case form.
And we know that members will have questions about what this means and who should complete a form and whether completing a form means that they've definitely got a claim. So today we want to explain the background as clearly as we can, tell you what we know at this stage and make sure that you know what action to take. And the most important point is that this is an information gathering exercise. We're not saying that everyone who completes the form will have an equal pay case.
Kerri, can you start by explaining what equal pay actually means?
So equal pay means that men and women should receive equal pay and contractual terms when they're doing equal work. So it doesn't necessarily mean that two people must have the same job title or carry out identical duties. The law can cover work which is the same or broadly similar, work that's been rated as equivalent under a job evaluation scheme, or different jobs which may be considered to be of equal value. So equal value can include things like the level of skill, responsibility, effort, knowledge, and demands that are placed or involved in that work. Equal pay cases are complex, and it's not simply a case of looking at two council jobs of the same grade and saying that they've got to be paid exactly the same. So this is why we need a detailed assessment. That's why Unison needs information about members' jobs, grades, employment dates, and working arrangements.
So at this stage, we are gathering the information needed to see whether there may be a legal issue.
Yeah, exactly. So completing a form allows us to review that information. It doesn't automatically confirm that someone's got a claim.
So what has led the branch to look into this now?
So Unison, we've had concerns about working arrangements which may be operating or have recently operated within the council's household waste services. In particular, we're looking at task and finish arrangements. Some people call that job and knock. We call that task and finish. And it generally means that some employees may have been able to leave work when their allocated round or task has been completed, but they're still receiving their normal pay. Where this happens, it means that employees receive the benefit of a shorter working day while they're still being paid for their full contractual hours. And so this results in a higher effective hourly rate. So the potential concern is that this benefit has been available to mainly male waste employees, but not to employees in mainly female workforces on the same or similar grades. It doesn't automatically mean that the practice is unlawful or that every employee has a claim, but it does mean that there is a potential equal pay issue which Unison needs to investigate properly.
This is also why it's important we collect accurate information rather than just making assumptions.
Yeah, Unison needs to understand which jobs may potentially be compared and what work those employees carry out and what terms or working arrangements have applied.
So which members should complete the equal pay case form?
So at the moment, we're asking members of RMBC employed on bands C to E to complete a form. And this could include people working as care workers, support workers, enablers, teaching assistants and school staff, cleaners, catering staff, admin and business support staff, customer service and reception staff, early years and childcare. It can also include passenger assistants, libraries and community support staff, housing and neighbourhood staff. So it's any grade in the council from a band C to an E. And these are just a few examples. It's not a complete list. And if you've not heard your role mentioned, it doesn't automatically mean that you're not included. It doesn't automatically mean that you've got an equal pay claim either. But a member shouldn't decide against completing a form just because we've not mentioned their role. The key point that anyone working for RMBC on a band C to an E should be submitting their information so we can review it.
One of the main questions we've already received is whether this is only for female members.
No, members of all sexes working on a band C to an E can complete a form. Equal pay law normally involves an employee comparing their pay or their contractual terms with an employee of the opposite sex who is carrying out equal work for the same employer. The potential issue that we're investigating is expected to mainly affect women working in female-dominated roles who might be able to compare their position with the male roles in the waste services. But we're not restricting this information gathering exercise just to women. So we're welcoming forms from both women and men, and we will consider each form individually as part of the wider assessment of the affected jobs.
So reps and members should not assume that being female automatically means that there is a claim, or that being male means that someone should not complete a form.
No, that's right. The form needs to be reviewed before we can take any decisions.
So what information do members need when completing the form?
So members need to provide us as much accurate information as possible about their employment with RMBC. We need that information to include the current job title, the service or the department that they're working in, what grade they're on, and the dates that they've worked in that role. So the normal working hours. And if you've had any previous RMBC jobs, we need to know the grades and the dates for those jobs as well. And if you've had any recent change to your role, to your grade, to your hours or your contract, we need to know that. It's important that members include every RMBC job that they've had, not just giving details of the current position. For example, somebody might now be in a band E, but they previously worked in a C or a D role. We need exact details and dates for each employment, each period of that employment. So even if you've left the council, if you've changed jobs, if you've moved to a different grade, or your contract's it's a new one or it's significantly changed, we need to know those details as well.
So Kerri, why are we putting so much emphasis on the date?
Equal pay claims are subject to strict legal time limits. The exact position can depend on the member's employment and the contractual history. So this can become particularly urgent when someone's left the council or where their employment relationship or contracts changed. You shouldn't try and work out the legal time limit yourself, but record any changes on the form and submit that as soon as possible. So if you've left RMBC, you've changed jobs, you've changed grade, or you've had a contractual change within the last 6 months, please make that sure when you complete your form. And again, submitting a form doesn't start a tribunal claim. It don't guarantee that a claim will be made, but it allows us to review that information and consider what action needs to be taken.
What's the easiest way for members to complete the form?
So we're encouraging members to complete it digitally. The website and the details will be given to you in the email. But if you would prefer a paper form or an electronic copy, then you can request one by emailing branch at general@unison-rotherham.org.uk. And then any completed forms or supporting documents need to be returned to EP.Rotherham@unison.co.uk. So we're not asking you to send any completed forms to reps or conveners or officers unless you're being asked to do so, but we're wanting members to use that dedicated email address. That helps us keep all the forms together and make sure that they're processed correctly.
Please also check that any documents that you attach are clear and that the email includes your full name and contact details. There is also something members need to do on My Unison.
Yeah, so My Unison is the members platform. It's where you can amend your details and look at what campaigns that we're running in branch and nationally. But we need you to go on there, update all your details, your home address, your personal email address, telephone number, employer and workplace, your job title and your employment details. And please use a personal email address where possible, because your work addresses sometimes change or they might not be available. So having your correct details will help us to identify members and contact you if necessary, provide updates about any potential claim. So again, completing the equal pay claim form does not mean that your Unison record will be updated. And this is why we're asking members to do that at the same time.
Thank you, Kerri. So let's finish by answering some of the questions that members may have. Does completing the form mean I definitely have a claim?
No, what it allows us to do is that we can review your circumstances. It doesn't guarantee a legal claim, don't guarantee a grievance, or that a settlement will follow.
Will I have to pay anything to complete the form?
No, there's no charge for completing and returning the Unison Equal Pay claim case form.
Do I need to know the name of a male employee doing the comparison job?
No, we're just asking you to provide that information that you know about your own job, and then Unison will look at the potential comparator roles as part of the wider investigation.
Can male members complete a form?
Yes, the exercise is open to all sexes on band C to E, even though we expect the potential issue to mainly affect women in female-dominated roles. We're asking all members of all sexes from C to E to complete those forms.
And what should I do if I've worked several jobs in the council?
Again, include every role with your job title, your grade, and the dates. So it's not just about your current job, it's about any jobs that you've held within the council.
What happens after I submit the form?
Your information will be reviewed, and then Unison then will decide which jobs and circumstances may need a further assessment. And we'll contact members where there's an update or where we need further information from them.
Can a rep promise that my claim will be successful?
No, reps, conveners, officers, we can't confirm that someone's got a valid claim or predict an outcome. We're wanting potential claims to go through the correct legal and union assessment process. So, to recap, we're asking members at RMBC on band C to E to complete an equal pay case form. So if you complete it as accurately as you can, including details of all the roles that you've held within Rotherham Council, telling us about any changes to your employment.
The digital form is available on the Unison website, that's unison.org.uk. Forms can also be requested from general@unison-rotherham.org.uk, and completed forms should be returned to ep.rotherham@unison.co.uk.
Yes, and please, please, please make sure that your details are up to date on My Unison. And we understand that this is an important and emotive issue to a lot of our members. We'll handle that information carefully and correctly. We'll follow the process and we'll keep updating members wherever there's any significant developments.
Please share this video with any RMBC colleague on band C to E who may not have seen the information yet.
Yeah. Thank you, Jodie. Thank you everyone for watching, and thank you for helping us to gather the information that we need to make sure that you are on the correct pay. Thank you.